Welcome back, part two, Sheffield Live TV here on a Thursday evening. We're talking football, we're talking synchronised swimming as well in part two, would you believe, and railway timetables. Have you checked it? Have you got a train back?
8:15, I think.
8:15 back to West York. We finish at, well, we can carry on to about 20 past 8, that'll do it, won't it? Yeah. John Helm and Liz Byrnes here. Synchronised swimming. Is not in my portfolio. Is it in yours?
Yeah, I think I've done 26 or 27 different sports throughout my career, and I got a phone call 2 or 3 months ago to say was I available and could I do synchronised swimming at the European Championships in Glasgow. Of course I can. And what I don't know now, I will definitely know by the time I get there.
So you bluffed it and said, "Oh yeah, I've done that before."
Once or twice. I'm sure you have as well, Liz, throughout.
Yeah, I mean, you know a bit about synchronised swimming. You can help John out here.
I actually covered it at the 2012 Olympics.
I'll take all your notes.
Oh, right, yes, okay, I'll forward them on. And I was saying a little bit earlier, there was a Russian competitor and she dominated all the time. And she was known as Phelps in a skirt.
I love that. Can I come out with that one?
Very good. Are we allowed to say things like that? I suppose it's all right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You can say it.
Yeah.
You can say it, but we
well,
can't.
Yeah, better than frotch in a frock or something.
Yeah. So, what else have you been? I know you've had 2 or 3 trips abroad quite recently. What have you been out covering then?
Well, I was out at the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang in January, February.
Yeah.
And whilst I was there, I did a mixture. I was sort of office-based doing some editing, but also I went out and covered men's figure skating, which I absolutely loved because it was very, very different. It was so much faster and they jumped so much higher than I expected them to, and it was very much their stage. So I did that and some of the men's snowboarding. And women's ice hockey.
The snowboarding.
Oh, yeah.
Just sensational. Some of that. I mean, it's an adaptation of skiing, isn't it? And the way it's been adapted, and the skateboarding on ice.
Yeah.
Is that still called? Is that snowboarding?
Yeah, it would be.
Is there another name for it as well? There's another name for some of those.
Well, there's the ski slope style, isn't there, which James Woods, the Sheffielder, came fourth.
Yeah.
And then the snowboarding is you've got all the different disciplines there, all the different events. Sorry, things like big air, which I think
yeah,
big air. That's
big air.
Turner.
And they just go as high as houses. Yeah. It's just to actually sort of stand there, you just feel so small. It's like they're suspended as well, but their knees and the injuries they must get.
It's a wonderful TV spectacle. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Just while I remember, there's a tribute night coming up to a local football star who was with an all-conquering team, Arbourthorne EA, who for a period of years won just about everything going in local football. And Paul Cartwright, who was instrumental in their success, sadly died quite recently. Now there's a tribute night to Paul coming up. He died in February, and it's a celebration of his starring role in Arbourthorne EA, and it's going to be at the Brew and Bean on Cumberland Street in Sheffield, and it's on Saturday, June the 16th at 7 p.m. So get along there, all friends of Paul and those who perhaps played with him, knew him from the football team. That promises to be a very good night. Russia. To Russia with love, you could say, in a couple of weeks' time. Yep. Specifically, I mean, you're working for FIFA, as we said. What does that involve then?
Well, it's a company who hosts broadcast services who are the broadcasting arm of FIFA, so they have all the rights and they sort out all the commentary teams. And what it means is that every country that hasn't got its own commentator there takes the FIFA feed.
Right.
And there are 6 commentators going over there to do the job, and I'm one of those half a dozen. And I'm based, to begin with, in Kazan, which is a city I like. I always say to people it's like going to Newcastle as opposed to going to London, really friendly. And it's actually a part of Russia that they don't regard as Russian. It's Tatarstan. And they are Tatars, believe it or not, in Kazan. Yeah. Nice stadium, lovely city. Then I go off to St. Petersburg, the old Leningrad, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've got a couple of games there, and then I finish in Samara, which is a new one to me, never been to Samara, and fingers crossed, if England do the business, my last game, because I'm only staying to quarter-finals, and it could be my last ever World Cup match, should be England.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Well,
it could be my last World Cup.
I'll be knocking on a bit by the time of Qatar.
Yeah, you never know. So it could be. You say that all the countries that haven't got their own broadcasters there. How many is that?
That's about 170 countries. I think the audience is 30 billion or something like that.
Just 30 billion.
Yeah.
There's no pressure there.
No,
just.
Not at all.
Just wing it.
You don't do it like you don't think. I don't think you ever think of the audience out there. I think you think of just talking like we are now, really, and doing the game properly. And I prepare as much for. I've been doing these European Under-17 Championships, and I prepared as much for a game there between Switzerland and Israel as I would for the World Cup. Why not? Yeah. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the players to get as much information and get it right. That's what it's all about, getting it right.
The under-17s is harder because less is known and less is on the record about these players.
And just before, excuse me, 2 weeks ago I got back from Nicaragua where I was doing the women's under-17 CONCACAF qualifiers for their World Cup finals in Uruguay this year, and there's no information at all about the players there of Puerto Rico and Haiti. And you work really hard on things like that.
Yes. Whereas at least you're dealing with known quantities, but some of the names, you know, I mean, you're mostly writing, aren't you? So, you know, as long as you spell it right.
Yes.
I mean, it's okay. You can pronounce it how you like, as long as you do it with authority.
No, we have guidelines. In fact, I've done the pronunciation guide for the last 2 World Cups for our team. I'm not doing it this time, but we all try and have it unified, so we're all pronouncing it the same. So if it's Gujanarad for Iran, it's Gujanarad. You know, my first game is Australia versus France, which is pretty good. That's not bad. We know most of the French players. The Aussie names are great, aren't they? Yeah. But I've got Iran versus Spain second game. So that will be a tough one. The Iranian names are not the easiest, and you want to get it right from their perspective as well.
Yeah. You owe it to people, but do you find then that you do what I do when I'm just updating on radio here for TalkSport and that when I do, but I just write them out phonetically and then just quickly have a glance down at the phonetic if there's a difficult one. Is that what you do?
I once had a Poland 82 World Cup. I did Poland against France, funnily enough, and the Polish goalkeeper was spelt Mlynczarek.
You've lost me.
Look like Blinkazurek. Pronounced how you do your homework, and I went and checked. It's pronounced Mlynczarek. Mlynczarek. I once did a Thailand game, and the number 4 was called Sanai Surya Jasura Patarapong. He quickly became number 4. So, but you have to do it. You have to do the research. But it's still great, isn't it? Just to be there, as you said, to be a part of a major event like this is fantastic.
Yeah. And of course, in your job and in ours, you're going to have the odd mistake, and sometimes they can be memorable, can't they? And later you're glad. At the time you're mortified, but later it becomes a story, doesn't it?
Oh, it can do.
You know, it becomes something you can dine out on.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you got any favourites?
I think I dare say this on what time of night is it? Don't worry too much. It's half an hour before my train. I know. I once said, good news for Northern Ireland tonight. The Ipswich Town winger Brian Hamilton has passed his fatness test. And of course, as soon as I said that, I thought, did I say that? And I saw arms and legs going up in the studio all over the place. So I get reminded about that one occasionally.
Well, that's great. There's one or two that I've done that probably can't be repeated.
No, I think that one was fair enough.
I think that just about gets through.
Just about get away with
There's one or two that I've done that wouldn't have got through the watershed at this time. Last week, our bleep machine failed because Chris Morgan was here.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on the receiving end of a famous tirade from Neil Warnock when he was Sheffield United manager. One of those TV documentaries where they're filming in the dressing room. And we had a clip that I wanted to play on the show that was 67 seconds, like just 67 seconds. But in that time, there were 40 words beginning with F in there, or the same word actually.
Fair enough.
And the bleep, we couldn't be sure that we bleeped every single one out. But I think people pretty well knew what was said.
Listen, I used to do rugby league raw, and that was raw. I'm not going to go into that.
All right, okay. New managers. There's a lot of clubs looking to fill vacancies at the moment. You live in the Bradford area, and of course you're very close to both Bradfords, but particularly Bradford Park Avenue, which is the club you've
Yeah, that's my
grown up
team.
with your team.
Our manager, Mark Bowers, just signed a new contract to 2022, I can reveal.
Right.
You're going to ask me about Bradford City.
I am.
I've seen a lot of names bandied about. McCann, Grant McCann from Peterborough, Steve Cotterill, Ian Cathro, an interesting one from Scotland, Uwe Rosler, his name always seems to get linked, Mark Warburton, but as I understand it, it will be a name that nobody has ever heard of, a bit similar to when David Wagner came to Huddersfield Town. I think they're pursuing the German owners, and I think they're going down that line.
And you
can have that exclusively.
Thank you. You think it'll be a German? Mm-hmm. Okay, and somebody we've never heard of.
Yep.
But you can't belittle this kind of thing because, as you say, we've not heard of David Wagner. And look at the fantastic job he's done. You can't, do you know, I have to admit it, and I got some stick on Twitter retrospectively, when Chris Powell was sacked, I thought he'd done very little wrong. And I had a little dig at Huddersfield and say, you know, you're looking above your station here. And people remind me of that. Because we couldn't foresee.
No, you couldn't. And a nice man, Chris.
Fantastic by the chairman, Dean Hoyle.
Yeah.
He's a nice man, isn't he?
He is yeah. I mean, Chris Powell's a lovely guy, but Wagner's a nice guy as well. Yeah. So we can't judge him. We don't know everything that's going on, do we? Let's be honest.
No.
We look in from the outside, and they will only tell you so much as they want you to know. And we are the media. So when I say the tip for me is for a German to come, I wouldn't say he's going to be a bad manager at all. He could be a very, very good coach, but they're actually looking for a coach. They're not looking for a manager.
Indeed.
No, they want a coach.
And that sometimes is a flaw, I believe, because I think Wagner's got pretty much full control of what he's doing at Huddersfield in terms of recruitment and the overall. I personally, I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah,
I think we probably both are. That is, I feel, the way to go.
Yeah, because they are footballing people.
They are, and the owners aren't.
No.
And why should they think that they know better than football professionals about, you know, what type of player you should be seeking? And I just don't get it.
No.
Do you get it?
No, I don't understand it, because if the manager's picking the team, you know, and if the manager's selecting the players, they know what they want, don't they?
They do.
So, but yeah.
No, they should be given
divine
control. Right over signings, and I mean, okay, there might be the odd signing where somebody's got better knowledge. Yeah. And if his previous 2 or 3 signings haven't turned out well, then you can understand them becoming a bit distrustful. But overall, the manager is the footballing voice of the club, and he's got the knowledge, the footballing knowledge.
And that's what you're playing.
They should be running the business, and that's what it is. It is a business operation.
Okay, do negotiations with players and contracts, but let the manager pick and choose and drive that.
We're all agreed.
Yeah,
I think we are. And certainly when Stuart McCall was there, the vibe was bad. I mean, you couldn't get a more dyed-in-the-wool Bradford City man than Stuart, another really nice man, doing a good job there. It was clearly not right behind the scenes in the relationships there and the parameters of his job. Same with Simon Grayson. Didn't do particularly well in his time there, but you could tell, couldn't you, that it wasn't for him.
No.
I think he quickly just felt.
Simon was never going to stay, I don't think. And now he's been linked quite rightly with Barnsley, and you've just mentioned Stuart McCall. I hope Stuart gets back into the game as well, because he's a good manager.
Absolutely, a good guy. And what Barnsley do, I don't know. I do know they made a colossal mistake with an appointment that made no sense with Jose Moraes. Well, what are they thinking of? They were in dire peril of going down, and so they bring a Portuguese manager in who's probably never seen any football in the Championship. What is going on?
It defies belief, doesn't it?
It does. Let's hope they get the next one right, and certainly that would be a common sense one. With Grayson's record of getting promotion from that level, very good indeed, isn't it? Very good indeed. Chesterfield, my team. Martin Allen, you know, talked about this on this programme a couple of weeks ago when it was in the air but wasn't confirmed. And I think myself and Andy Giddings, who were here, we had reservations because he's not stayed very long anywhere. He's certainly an impact man, and perhaps that's what Chesterfield need. They needed it when they're struggling in League One and League Two. Somebody like him, they've got him in there. What do you make of it?
Unusual appointment, because I always think, Martin Allen, Southern base, isn't he? He's Barnet, he's Brentford. I've never thought of him being with a northern club.
No,
It just doesn't happen, that sort of thing.
Furthest north
really,
he's
does
been,
it?
yeah. But Leicester, but that was very brief.
You're very brief
Yeah.
indeed. I'd forgotten. It's a bit like I don't consider Ian Holloway as a northern manager, although he was at Blackpool and did quite well there. It is a short. It's like a jab in the stomach, isn't it? We're going to, bring somebody in who's going to make you pull up your socks, and I'm not sure whether it'll work or not. He does know that division, of course.
He does.
He does know.
He's had success there.
The conference, or the National League as it's now known. And what I said to people at Chesterfield, you've got to get back first or at least second time. Yeah. If you don't, you become a Wrexham.
Or a York.
7 years. He's taken Tranmere a couple of years. York, now, goodness me, they finished below Bradford Park Avenue. Stockport, can't they? Still getting 6,000 to Stockport.
Yes, that's great.
In the National League North, you know, and with all due respect to the Chorleys and my club, you know, they shouldn't be playing them. And Darlington, they should be up there.
They should. Well, Martin Allen has come in and made a big impact. He's lifted the whole place by sheer force of personality. He's making announcements, self-styled announcements of signings on the club's Twitter account. Yeah. Have you seen some of those?
I have seen them, yes. Yeah. Signed off, was it Take Care, Martin?
Yeah,
that's what
really.
He
says good morning or good afternoon, and he says take care, Martin. And he writes them himself, and he's announced 5 or 6 signings. One of them, memorably, Michael Nelson. He just said, "I've signed Michael Nelson. He's very old, but I think he'll do a good job for us." It just came, and people loved it.
Yeah. It is Martin and not Dave Allen who's writing these, isn't
it? Yes, it is. Well, whatever you say about Dave Allen, he does let his managers manage and get on with it.
Fine.
He does. Yeah, he does.
That's all you would ask for.
And that's the way it should be, isn't it, really? You just got to make sure the right choices are made. Well, and they've made some bad choices. That's the...
Listen, there are about 15 jobs on offer at the moment, aren't there, throughout the divisions? And I would guarantee by October there'll be another 15 going, because whoever gets off to a bad start next season, they'll be out, don't they? I mean, Chelsea's still got to be decided, hasn't it? There are several others, believe you and me.
Yeah, well, several others just underneath that we don't know about yet.
Yes.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, before I forget, Lake Windermere and synchronised swimming, and then we'll talk about Sheffield United FC ladies. Yes. Just tell us briefly about this ordeal that you're going to be...
well, I'm going to be doing a charity swim in Lake Windermere. I'm doing the 2 mile. I actually originally entered the 1 mile event, and then I thought, oh, what can go wrong? I'll do the 2 miles. So it's yes.
It's a big difference there.
So
Crikey.
yes,
a length is enough, eh? 2 lengths. How many lengths is a mile? There's a lot of lengths.
Well,
in
33.
a mile, right?
I think it's 33 of a 50-metre pool. So it's 66 of a Ponds Forge without the walls to push off.
Good luck.
Brave lady.
And the water's probably, I mean, the weather's lovely at the moment. I hope it is when you do the swim. It's going to be fairly chill, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I train at Hart Hill Reservoir with the Yorkshire outdoor swimmers, and the other night it was 19 degrees, and that was okay.
The water was 19 degrees?
It was 19 degrees,
That sounds pretty good. More than I would have expected. So, Sheffield United ladies, fairly new team to women's football. Carla went there, of course, from Sheffield Ladies FC, didn't she? Sheffield FC Ladies. And I think she's doing a good job. They're progressing. And I think this weekend they find out, do they not, whether they're accepted into the Women's Super League.
I believe it's on the Sunday. There's a playoff game between the Northern and Southern regional winners, which will decide one of the places in the Women's Championship. Because of the restructure, it's going to the Women's Super League, then which has got your Arsenals and your Chelseas, your Man Cities, the Women's Championship. I mean, already in there is Sheffield FC, Doncaster Bells.
Neil Redfern doing a great job.
Well, that's right, yeah. And
he should be in management too. Yeah. Higher, no disrespect to Doncaster Bells. Sorry.
So United finished 3rd in the 4th tier this season, but now because of the restructure, people have applied to a number of teams. I think it's up to about 15 teams have applied to go into the top 2 divisions. United into the 2nd. And they find out on Sunday whether they've been successful or not.
Okay, exciting time.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Very exciting.
Of course, having a name with the clout of Sheffield United, and of course there's several other well-established league clubs that are trying, goes quite a way, doesn't it? down the line, I would have thought.
Well, I mean, I think Man United are trying. They don't have a women's team, is it? They're just putting together really quickly, and you'd think that they would get a licence, which would sort of leave 4 for the Championship. And I think other teams that are applying are Crystal Palace, Coventry. I mean, they're all, with decent size,
decent clubs, yeah.
So, but I think coming into they're actually part of United now. They're not just associated; they're part of it.
Yeah.
And they play at the academy at the moment, but they're going to be moving into the Olympic Legacy Park.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their own ground.
And ultimately, you can see them playing their bigger matches at Bramall Lane, couldn't you? You can't see a reason why not.
Yeah, I mean, they don't just want to get in there. They're very ambitious. Yeah. They don't just want to get in there. There's talk of getting Women's Champions League. They want to see Champions League football there. They want to be in the Super League. So it's very forward-looking.
It's sad, isn't it, that Doncaster Bells have won the title, but they can't be admitted to the Premier Elite section of the Women's Super League. Is a fee involved?
I think they can't afford to get their licence. This is what I read. They can't afford it. They can't afford the licence or something. But I mean, it would mean it would be another local derby, wouldn't it? If United were at
that, isn't it? Because they were sort of pioneers in the women's game. I remember doing a Women's FA Cup final, which they won at Sinsel Bank, and they were one of the clubs that people throughout the country knew. They knew of Arsenal ladies and Chelsea and Everton. Yeah. But Doncaster Bells were the one shining light in this part of the world, weren't they?
Absolutely. And I saw them recently at Sheffield FC and won a hard-fought game 2-1. And nice to see Neil Redfern there, who's doing really well as a pundit as well on TalkSport these days.
Yeah, Neil, he's an ex-Bradford Park Avenue, so he's a good lad.
Bradford Park Avenue. What a player he was. And,
terrific.
I mean, I did a chat for a film about Barnsley's promotion to the Premier League in '97, and I'm sure you've
just done the same thing.
You've done the same.
We're there together.
When I look back at Neil, and he scored something in double figures in that Premier League season from midfield. It was on a par with Steven Gerrard.
He scored 21 goals that season. He scored 150 odd throughout his career from midfield. He never played up front in his entire career. 150 odd goals as a midfielder.
I don't think we ever gave him the credit.
No, I don't think we do. He was a buccaneering type, wasn't he?
He was. It's brilliant. He scored goals from 25, 30 yards. And
terrific.
Free kicks. And, Barnsley could do a lot worse, in my opinion, with their managerial vacancy than consider him for this one. I don't know, I keep a checklist here. I think, apart from the railway timetable, I think I've got just about everything covered down here. And it's been good to see you both. I hope you have a thoroughly enjoyable World Cup.
Thank you.
I hope it isn't your farewell.
Well, yes.
I mean, there'll be a European Championships along in a couple of years. You'll be all right for that.
There'll be synchronised swimming in Dunkirk or something as well. Yeah. Oh, I'm not packing in, but I'm just saying it's probably unlikely in 4 years' time.
Do you see Motti just finally? I mean, he's call time with the BBC. Do you see him going on?
No, I think Motti's a different animal to me. I mean, I still love it. I still love the travel, and I think that's part of it. Where he detests all the travel. Yeah, he could do some voiceover work, maybe, but I don't think he wants to do any more commentaries. People forget. They ask me how do you prepare for a match? It's about 5 hours on each match it takes, which is considerable, and you have to do it. And I sometimes do 2 games a day, so that's 10 hours research and preparation. I don't think Motti wants that. I think he's had enough. He's tired of doing all of that, and he deserves a rest. And we all do. I'll come to that day when I'll say, well, that's enough. I think I've done my bit.
I can't see that in your face, and
no.
I'm quite a bit younger than you, and I would hate to give up working.
Yeah, we're in the best job in the world, aren't we?
Why would we want to give it up?
Yeah, I might swim Lake Windermere next. Anyway, that'll be my next ambition.
Well, now I've heard the temperature's 19 degrees and some of these, and I think I might join you. Thanks very much indeed, Liz.
Thank you.
And to John, again, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it at home. This is repeated at 11 p.m. tonight if you missed, or it's on my YouTube channel. Back with another show next week. That'll be recorded, I've got to be honest. See you. Take care. Bye.